I mentioned there are two flavors of unknown references. One of them is called unowned safe, and the other unowned unsafe. When you just write unowned in your code, Swift assumes unowned safe. Unowned unsafe references are very hard to find in any real code base. That's because they're not safe to use, and at the same time, they rarely get useful. Both flavors of unknown references are meant to be used in scenarios where an object needs to reference another one, but it doesn't want to be responsible for its lifetime. That's what the unknown part means. In contrast to that, the default kind of references, strong, implies the relationship of ownership. The other object is owned by the first one, and held with a strong grip. Unowned safe is a managed kind of reference. What that means is that the runtime sits in the middle, monitoring the calls. If you try to access the object you weren't supposed to access, the runtime will intercept the call and throw an exception, instead of allowing direct access to memory. Unowned unsafe does not manage or monitor calls. It's a very primitive pointer that simply directs you to an address in memory. Unowned unsafe does not enforce any checks, and you assume every risk imaginable. Sometimes the data found in memory would be enough to keep the program running, though it could be someone else's data that you can accidentally corrupt. But more often you would get strange crashes that are impossible to reproduce. You get no guarantees and you get very little clarity. Unowned unsafe was added to Swift to work with Objective-C's unsafe unretained attribute. This attribute used to be needed before the completed implementation of ARC arrived. So if you use Swift alone, or if you use Swift with modern Objective-C, you don't have a single reason to use unowned unsafe. As you can see, if you make a mistake while working with unsafe references, in the best case scenario, your app will crash. If you don't want to risk it, you can use weak references instead.